Hello, this is Crystal Racing here with another video, and today I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be staying off Twitter in terms of the F1 community for quite a while, because I really am sick to death of going on Twitter and reading tweets from the F1 community. Right now, as you probably know, Mercedes are dominating in a way that is so resolute and so comprehensive, in a way that I can tell you from memory and from statistics that this domination is way more crushing than that of Ferrari's domination from 2000 to 2004. And I've got to say this, what makes Mercedes' domination even worse is the fact that not only are they able to win races so consistently, but the fact that they can get both cars, in this case Hamilton and Bottas, in the first two positions more than any other team I've ever seen throughout the history of Formula 1. And even though, of course, there's always going to be the list of people who appear saying, oh, well, you know, there's always been a team dominating race, you know, the course of many seasons throughout the sports history. You have got to realise, through statistics alone, Mercedes are right now on course to complete one of the most complete dominations of the sport I have ever seen. Mercedes have won 79 out of the 105 races since the V6 hybrid era began at the start of 2014. Just let that sink in. 79 out of 105 races. That is literally a hit ratio of over 75%. Yes, I know some people may look at, you know, the early 1950s and think, well, you know, you had Ferrari and Alberto Ascari dominating, but, you know, that only lasted 2 years. And, of course, back then, Formula 1 was in a way more primitive state back in 1952 and 1953, when there were only 7 or 8 races per season. And, of course, for those 2 seasons alone, because of the withdrawal of Alfa Romeo, the sport reverted back to Formula 2 regulations in order to have as many cars on the grid as possible. And, you know, yes, you can look through the passage of time. Yes, Fangio then went on to win 4 consecutive championships afterwards. And then, of course, you got to the 60s and Jim Clark was running away with races and literally only lost the 1962, 1964 World Championships because of poor reliability, and the fact, of course, is in 1967 his new Lotus Ford 49 was introduced halfway through the season. So, of course, because of poor reliability, then he lost the championship. And yes, I know people will look at other eras and say, you know, in the 1970s and the 1980s, you know, cars had very poor reliability records. And yes, that is true, but you know, I think we really need to get back to the modern day and realise that, you know, the thing with Mercedes is that I honestly have to say this Mercedes team of 2014 until possibly next season, which is 2020, are probably going to go down in Formula 1 history as the greatest Formula 1 team that has ever existed. And I can go back to the early 2000s and tell you that, even though, of course, it was indeed quite boring to watch, let's be honest, you got to realise Michael Schumacher's Ferrari team, even though they had a very fast car, were able to dominate because of a few factors. One of them was the fact that they had exclusive use of Bridgestone tyres from 2002 to 2004, where the only other teams using Bridgestone tyres were mostly teams like Jordan, Sauber and Minardi. In other words, the lower midfield teams and the back markers were using Bridgestones. Because Michelin, their tyre rivals, had to cater for Williams, McLaren, BAL Honda, Renault and quite a few other teams, Michelin had to produce a tyre that could be usable for many teams However, that meant that they were not able to necessarily optimise their tyres for any particular team's car characteristics, whilst Bridgestone could focus solely on Ferrari. And despite that Ferrari winning so many races with Michael Schumacher, you've got to realise even they had a few reliability hiccups, most notably with Rubens Barrichello, where, of course, if they were running short on parts, they would give all the new parts straight to Michael Schumacher. You've got to realise, even if you take into account that Ferrari did indeed dominate the 2002 season, despite what a few fans might actually argue, because I know whilst most people do see it as domination, there are actually a few minority that actually believe that it wasn't actually that dominant because of how fast Williams BMW were in qualifying, with Juan Pablo Montoya at the wheel getting 7 pole positions that year. But I can tell you though, after the first 5 races after the Spanish Grand Prix, Rubens Barrichello only had 6 points for the 2002 championship up to that point, and that's because he had 4 mechanical failures that caused him to either retire or not even start the race, which was the case for the 2002 Spanish Grand Prix. Now compare that to Mercedes this season in 2019 getting 5 consecutive 1-2 finishes. That is how far ahead Mercedes really are. And the thing is, like, you've got to realise, as much as I do like Valtteri Bottas, I mean, the fact is if a driver like Valtteri Bottas could go out there and comfortably finish in a top 2 position like this on a consistent basis, it's a very clear sign that car is very good. Don't get me wrong, you know, Lewis Hamilton is probably not on top form, and Valtteri Bottas is probably driving as well as he's ever done. But frankly, if Mercedes were, you know, had the same sort of car advantage that Ferrari had back in 2002, believe me, there would actually be quite a decent battle for second place in the Drivers' Championship, and Vettel and Leclerc probably would have beaten Bottas quite a few times had you put, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas in the 2002 Ferrari cars, and you put Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc in the 2 Williams BMW cars of that season. Because, let's be frankly honest here, folks, I'm absolutely fed up with this whole fighting on Twitter between Ferrari and Mercedes fans. I'm so fed up, and do you know what it is? And like, what I hate so much about these Twitter battles is when Mercedes fans come out and say, well, it's not Mercedes' fault that Mercedes have got such a good car. How about everyone else goes out and makes a better car and do better, when you've got to realise at Formula 1, under these hybrid regulations, require a ridiculous, astronomical budget for the teams to be able to compete. I mean, there's a reason why there's a such thing called Formula 1.5, and that's because the midfield runners are at least almost a second slower than the slowest top 3 car at the moment. It is just absolutely frightening. I'm so fed up with all these stupid little fights that are appearing on Twitter. I mean, I do realise though, part of it's probably due to the fact that after having seen Mercedes dominate F1 so comprehensively and for so long, and the fact that for the past 2 years we've actually had quite a decent championship fight, happening between Mercedes and Ferrari, with only of course for Ferrari to stroke their chances in the second half of the seasons of both seasons, thanks to a combination of their strategy team and of course Sebastian Vettel. I mean, the fallout is pretty bad, and I've got to say this, I can't help but feel that Bahrain was possibly a case of Mercedes not actually getting the most out of their car now, I know a lot of people thought that Ferrari had finally unlocked the potential of that car one race late, but it does seem as if that Bahrain performance is most likely an indicator of Mercedes actually underperforming. And you know, it was only thanks to Charles Leclerc's power unit losing a cylinder or whatever the hell happened, and then of course Sebastian Vettel spinning for the up-team time that Mercedes got a 1-2. Let's be honest here, folks. I mean, look, we can sit there and debate what exactly is making Mercedes so dominant, but whether it is indeed their car package, whether it's indeed their drivers, their management, their strategy teams, their, you know, all these things have all come together so that, you know, the likes of James Allison, James Vowles, Bono, Toto Wolff have produced this perfect winning package. And of course, I cannot forget to mention, of course, Aldo Costa, who used to be Ferrari's engine director during the Schumacher glory days, has played a huge role in making sure Mercedes have been on top of these hybrid regulations. And of course, I also have to mention the amazing strong work that Niki Lauda, who of course is right now recovering at home from his long surgeries and his recent bouts of illnesses, has played an enormous role in the Mercedes domination. His advice, his management, his knowledge, his know-how has played a huge factor in getting Mercedes to getting to where they are today and helping the likes of Toto Wolff, James Vowles and the whole team become this ridiculously dominant. I have got to tip my hat to Mercedes, but as it stands, the sport is absolutely awful to watch right now. And whilst I will continue watching races for the rest of this season, I will do my utmost to ensure that I am not going to be on Twitter for the rest of this season. I really am going to do my absolute utmost. I am not going to tweet any pictures from the past. I'm not going to tweet any of my comments on what I think is going on in F1 at the moment. I am not going to do anything. I am just going to leave my entire profile a clean slate until December. I have had enough. I really do not want to come on F1 Twitter anymore. I am fed up. So, if you enjoyed this rant, because I certainly did not enjoy one moment of it, please like and subscribe to Crystal Racing, where I will be on YouTube for the rest of the season instead now. And you know, you can also go find my Instagram and me, and you know, I might even post a few things on Tumblr if I get bored. But this has been Crystal Racing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.